This is a video response to Why Me, Why Silver's video today. Um, you were mentioning you're all wondering when it's gonna hit $19 an ounce, and sure enough, it hit it today. Um, you mentioned the dollar index; it's up, so you were kind of scratching your head a little bit about why the dollar index is up and gold and silver is back up. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe gold broke the all-time record again today. I think it was 1224 or 1225 or something, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason gold and silver is holding and doing well, even though the dollar has risen, the dollar index, is because the dollar index is compared basically to like the euro and the pound or whatever. I think the euro mainly. While they're crashing the euro down, paper money basically, our dollar is also crashing down at the same time, but just not quite as fast as the euro on purpose. So while both of these ships are sinking, our ship is sinking just a tiny bit slower. So it actually is going up. That's why it's at, it was down in the 70s last year, dollar index. Now it's over, it's been hovering around 80, 81. Now it's at 84, you know, while the euro's going down. But again, both of them are going down. That's the dirty secret. They don't want us. They don't want you to know. If the euro stayed where it was at and the dollar did what it's been doing lately, it'd be down in the 70s again easily right now, low 70s. But because they're taking all the paper currencies down at once, that's why gold and silver is actually going up. It's also why gas, food, milk, everything else is still more expensive than it normally is. So you mentioned that, so I just wanted to throw that out there. And I also want to say that I truly, truly believe, and I've studied a lot of this stuff, did the history, um, have a couple of sources that I've been following for the last 4 years who have pretty much, one of them is 100% right all the time. His name is Lindsey Williams, by the way. You can search for him on YouTube. And the other one's a software program that's not right all the time, but just most of the time. They're both saying gold and silver is going to go to levels that will make your head spin. Thousands of dollars an ounce for gold and a few $100s an ounce for silver. This is going to happen probably, from what I gather out of this, is within the next 2 years, maybe three max. Um, but anyways, gold and silver have usually held a historic ratio of approximately 16 to 1. So what that means is 16 ounces of silver would buy you 1 ounce of gold. For thousands of years of history, it's pretty much maintained that. It's fluctuated every now and then a little bit, but that's about the average and usually stayed around 16 to 1. Today, I don't even know what the ratio is, but off the top of my head, but it is nowhere near 16 to 1. It's probably like 50 or 70, 60, 70 to 1 actually. So, today right now, if gold is 1220, then silver in theory should be somewhere between, say, $60 and $80 an ounce. Probably closer to $80 an ounce than 60. So if it's $19, let's just round that off and say it's 20 bucks. It's 4 times less than what it should be at, just historically speaking. If no manipulation was in place, if they didn't ever, demonetize silver a while back, whatever, it should be $60 to $80 an ounce today, right now, with the manipulation going on. So when you take all that into account, and then realize it's still only 19, 20 bucks. It's been 17 here for a while, for about a month or two now. Now it's creeping to 18. Now it's creeping to 19. Today high of almost 19.50. It should be 60 to 80 bucks an ounce. So I've got a friend that's on my Facebook, and I grew up with the guy, and he's like, yeah, I know I should have bought it like 2-3 days ago. I knew I should have did it. Now it's $2 more than it was then, or whatever. And man, I was like, well, you might want to wait a few days, 2-3 days to see what happens, because they may push it down a little bit. Then maybe you can buy some. But at the same time, with all this paper money creation, $1 trillion in debt creation, basically paper money in the European zone, or the euro, that was like our bailout bill for $1 trillion. And not only that, we Americans contributed to that trillion to them, the IMF, through the IMF, which lent like 500 billion or 400 billion to Euro as part of their package to Greece and whatever, the European Union. And we paid 20% of whatever the IMF paid. So now we don't just bail out our own banks too big to fail. We bail out the too big to fail rest of the world. And our Congress idiots say, well, we have to do this because if we don't help Europe, that's a trading partner. And if we let the trading partner collapse, it's going to hurt us because that's our partner to trade. And if trade stops, we're done. So basically, it's financial terrorism. You do this or else we'll burn your economy. We'll crash your markets. We'll do this, we'll do that. If you don't do it, the house is going to be on fire. Oh, okay, well, I guess we better do it. We don't want our house to get on fire. The truth of the matter is the house is already on fire. It's actually been burnt down. We just fail to see that. We think there's something left over there. There's nothing left. That little analogy or whatever. But the bottom line, silver should be at least around 16 to 1. 16 ounces of silver should buy you 1 ounce of gold. Today, it will take you way, 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 way more than that to buy gold. So it should be 60 to 80 bucks. It's not. When the paper falls out from under the stock market, and I'm already hearing and watching things, reading things that are saying these paper contracts, I guess both in gold and silver, are leveraged up to 100 to 1. Meaning for every 100 contracts that say, hey, yeah, you got some gold here if you ever demand delivery, or silver, there's actually one thing of silver for that contract. That's coming unglued as we speak, by the way. More and more people are cleaning out the COMEX and the other storehouses of gold and silver. And there's lots of delays going on now all of a sudden, as expected. So the bottom line is when they finally come out and say, okay, the whole goddamn COMEX or whatever is in default or can't supply the goods, there's a waiting period now. That's going to deleverage, break, and sever the market, the paper market, from the real physical markets of gold and silver. There will be no end in sight for gold and silver. And everyone's going to probably run to gold mostly first, only to find out there ain't none out there. It's already gone. There was hardly any in there. If you look at what the central banks of our countries are supposed to have, even if they really do have it, it's like 1% of the entire money that's out there. It backs nothing. It's like so tiny. So, anyways, that's going to cause people to run to the next best thing. Well, shit, there's no gold. Now what? Silver. Oh, okay. There's even less silver than gold because it's been demonetized a while back. There's not enough use for it, apparently, in their eyes. So, bottom line is there's even less of that. It's going to skyrocket. It's going to go way past the $60 to $80 that it should be at today. It'll be hundreds of dollars because people are going to be running to these things as safe investments because nothing will be safe. Can't trust housing. Can't trust the stocks. Can't trust bonds. You can't trust nothing. There's no reason the stock market crashed 1,000 points and then jumped 600 points the same day within minutes later. Would you, if you were some kind of smart investor, seeing the Dow plummet off a cliff with no end in sight, not a zigzag up and down, straight off the cliff, would you invest when it dropped 1,000 points, hoping that millions of other investors did the same thing to bring it back up 600 points? Are you going to risk that? If you're some kind of financial firm or whatever, are you going to do that with your clients' money? Gambling? Absolutely not. That shows you the whole thing's rigged. And now today I'm reading about this new circuit breakers they're going to be installing in the stock market so that if too many people sell at once, it's triggering the circuit breakers. In other words, it's going to crash. And when you think you're going to get out, all the big guys will have already been out that day before you even had a chance. And when you call your broker or log online to your account and say, I'm selling my shit now, sorry, the circuit breakers have been triggered. You ain't selling shit. Oh, well, I'll do it first thing in the morning. My order's still there for sale. Wait till I wake up in the morning. Oh, it still doesn't sell yet. Well, damn, the stock market dropped another 1,000 points. Why isn't my order selling? Well, because there's got to be a buyer. And when the plunge protection team, aka the federal government, isn't falsely buying these things to pump up the market, fake, in a fake way that they do, there ain't no real buyers. That's probably another dirty secret. Anyways, people are going to say, well, I have nothing left to lose. Where can I put my money? In gold and silver. Oh, well, there's no gold, or gold's too expensive. I can't afford $2,000 an ounce whenever that price may hit here shortly. What else can I do? Oh, well, you got $1,000? Yeah, go buy a few ounces of silver. You could spend $1,000. You can get 20, 30 ounces of silver at the time. You might not all be all that it buys you. But it's easily going past $80 simply because our currencies, they'll bail out everybody. The whole freaking world's going to get bailed out. California will get bailed out. Florida will get bailed out. Every state will get bailed out with money from the printing press. It's going to water down the paper currency so much that the prices of gold and silver are going to skyrocket. So at the same time, our dollar is getting devalued. Gold and silver is going up because people are running to it like the next bubble, and the dollar is being devalued. So $80 can turn to $160 an ounce, can turn to $200, $300, $400 an ounce very easily. And by the way, the one thing that I studied, known as the Webbot, which is phenomenally accurate, not 100%, but most of the time, is seeing a minimal of approximately $500 US dollars, by the way, per ounce silver sometime soon, next year to two, maybe three max.